Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the back. Gets Butler. Here comes Knight in the next win. See you in Pittsburgh. Can't wait. All the fans out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. Looking, throwing in the end zone.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg and Erik Bowe. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on!
Yeah, game on.
Game On, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
I'm hyped. We are live. Happy Thursday to all of you here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Game On, joining you every single Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Speedy, I have a shirt that doesn't blend in with the background today, so this is a big thing. This is gonna be a good show.
No hat today either. I'm disappointed.
No hat today. No hat today. You can check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, on Facebook. No, not Facebook anymore. Sorry, YouTube and Instagram. Check us out. The link is on Facebook to check everything out. Call us at 631-672-3108. I'll show it there for everybody. Ooh, Of course, my co-host, Mr. Erik Bowe. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm excited today. I don't know if the ladies and gentlemen, everyone listening, I don't know if you're ready for the show today.
Great. Yeah, might actually go over
what happened in Jets land. Josh is biting at the bit to talk about
Errol before. That's why. And you know why I'm hyped? Because Errol and I were actually agreeing on like 99% of the stuff we were saying. So it's kind of like that never happened. Speedy knows that never happens. And Speedy's on the board. What's up, man?
Yeah, the conversation was venting Jets fans. It felt like I was listening to a more accelerated Weapons Hot.
It felt like it sounded like we were listening to a Saturday Night Live skit with the Bears fans and everything like that.
Bears fans.
Yeah, I have it. You don't remember that with Chris Farley and all that?
No, I've seen the skit before. Yeah,
I actually have something in the studio. I want to thank my mother, Marilyn Silver, for getting this for me. This is good. I'm going to show this to everybody. If everybody can see it.
Well, if you move it over your name, we might be able to.
Oh, here.
What are those?
What are those? Whoppers!
Nice.
And not the Willy Whoppers.
And you still have Whoppers left.
Oh, man, we got a great show.
I had to bring that up as he was coming in the room.
Oh, it was perfect timing. I knew he was coming in. I know that I had the signal. The New York Jets are a disgrace and a disaster. We'll get to that in a little bit. The Giants are even worse. I can't wait for Thanksgiving between Cooper Rush and Tommy DeVito. That's going to make me want to eat dinner early. Yeah, stop with that, please. Fish does that enough on the shows. Please don't do that here. MLB free agency. Yankee personnel saying that they feel Juan Soto is going to go to the highest bidder, and they feel that the Mets are going to be the ones to get him. We'll discuss that a little bit. The 76ers. You want to talk about a disgrace and dysfunction? There's that. And, of course, how about the breaking news we had right before the show on Alexander Ovechkin? He'll be out for the next 4 to 6 weeks. What this does to the Washington Capitals going forward, who are having a great season. And Ovechkin, Speed and I were discussing having an MVP-like season right now. But we began with the absolute disgrace that is New York football, or as they play in New Jersey, in that dumpster fire that is MetLife Stadium, which looks like a literally a factory that they produce scrap metal. So that's where or as I like to call it, the big tuna fish can. Because that's what it looks like. Because every time I go to another stadium, I see the Vegas Raiders Stadium or I see the Dallas Cowboys Stadium, and they paid the same amount of money as the Jets and the Giants did for their stadium. I go, man, and I understand the tax is a lot less, but a disgrace. But that's besides the whole point of what.
Although
is going to.
the gym looked pretty nice there.
I didn't have to watch the outside of it. Actually, the trucks looked a lot nicer than the stadium did. So what's that tell you? And everything of that nature. But we'll start with the New York Jets. And the writing was on the wall that Joe Douglas was going to be fired after the year was over. He was pretty much, once Robert Saleh got fired and Woody went over his head, Joe Douglas was just coming in to collect the paycheck every single week. That's all he was doing. He was clocking in and clocking out. He had no control of the team anymore. Those days were done. We knew that. But all this stuff came out in the Athletic report from Woody Johnson wanting Aaron Rodgers fired after week 4, the loss of the Broncos, to the Davante Adams trade, and I'll give Woody this piece of kudos, rejecting the trade where Joe Douglas was going to send a second-round pick and Alan Lazard to the Denver Broncos for Jerry Jeudy. He declined to do that trade. He did not want to get involved in the Hassan Reddick situation, so he went over Joe Douglas's head and gave Reddick the contract. He got the third-round pick done for Davante Adams. This was all Woody Johnson. He wanted Tony Adams bench, the safety. All that has come out. Aaron Rodgers did not come on the Pat McAfee show this week. Obviously, kind of an interesting nod to the saying, okay, maybe it was true and everything was true. But as a Jet fan, I would almost say like this is par for the course. I have it on my Twitter page. If you haven't seen it, whatever it's called, X now, I've said it. I've kept it on my pinned tweet. The New York Jets will never get me excited again. I will never believe the hype until they show me otherwise. Until then, they will just be a dysfunctional disaster. And that is what I have on my Twitter page, and that is what I'm going to believe. It doesn't matter if it's Aaron Rodgers, if it's Brett Favre, if it's Sam Darnold, if it's Zach Wilson, if it's Mark Sanchez.
Well, I mean, Josh, we've seen this roller coaster before, no? I mean, the only thing left for Rodgers to do is join the Vikings afterwards, right?
Go ahead. Honestly, I think in my personal opinion, and I know, Erik, you have a lot to say too about it, but I guess I'll start being a Jet fan because you seem to be very excited about what I have to say in this.
Not at all.
This disgusting, traumatic dysfunction of an organization is such a disgrace. And Woody Johnson, to me, is one of the absolute worst owners, and not just – I think he's the worst owner in football, but he's one of the worst owners in professional sports. He is a guy that sticks his nose where it doesn't belong. He thinks he knows the game of football. He doesn't know a thing about football, and then he does a nice little 9% price increase on the PSLs and sends an email out to the fans about it every year. This is what he does. This is what Woody Johnson has done for years. He has done this forever. He has never finished the whole rebuild process. Now, look, am I a fan of Joe Douglas? Joe Douglas has made a couple of okay moves. Obviously, he had that great draft with Gardner, who's been awful this year. Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, Jermaine Johnson, all that. He signed Quincy Williams, all that. But Joe Douglas has made a ton of atrocious moves, from Corey Davis, Alan Lazard, to Dalvin Cook, to Tyron Smith, to Lincoln Tomlinson. I could go on and on and on about the awful, awful, awful. He ruined the Jets' strength, which was the defensive line. He traded away John Franklin Myers for nothing. He then let Bryce Huff walk because Woody didn't want to pay Bryce Huff. And what did he do? He replaced it with signing $7 million of Javon Kinlaw, who's been a disaster. They let Quinn Jefferson walk. And then on top of it, he trades for Hassan Reddick, knowing that Reddick doesn't have a contract in place, knowing that Reddick doesn't have any sort of connection to this organization and does the trade anyway. When all he had to do was just he could have kept John Franklin Myers and not have to sign Javon Kinlaw. Joe Douglas completely ruined a strength of this New York Jet team. And once Jermaine Johnson went down with the injury in week 2, it crushed it. I got to constantly watch Michael Clemens play every week, and he should be a Canadian Football League player, Michael Clemens.
Josh, I just want to say the opposite thing for once. And I know I'm shocked I'm even saying this too. You just talked about Douglas and the draft that he had, the class with Breece
He had
Hall.
one good draft.
Well, but the guys and the talent on that team. And again, we said it last week. Who of the top guys on that Jets organization has played at least average this year?
I would say Garrett Wilson.
At what point does player development, at what point does the production on the field have to match what's being coached, obviously, too? You know what I mean? Like, who on the Jets had that great? We're like, you know what? We had him this year. Yep, that's why. Garrett Wilson was on fire. Breece Hall could rush for 1,000 yards easily, have 10+ touchdowns. He's going to be the main focal point of the offense. It's going to open up the passing game. The defense that was solid as can be last year. What did they do this year? Nothing.
They ruined their strength, which is their defensive line. And the other thing is Joe Douglas completely botched on one of the most important picks in New York Jets history. When at the time everybody said they should trade the pick, including myself, they should trade the second pick and get a haul of first-round picks. And instead, Joe Douglas stuck to his guns and took Zach Wilson. And he stamped his name to that. But even the year before that, Mekhi Becton over Tristan Wirfs was a really, really, really bad pick. And I've talked about some of the free agents. I could get into CJ Usama, who they're still paying dead money cap to.
But again,
this is what the New York Jets, Joe Douglas, has become. But again, this stems to one person, and it's a guy who has never hired the GM and the coach together. He always hires one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
That is Woody Johnson. And the problem with Woody Johnson is this. He never lets the coach report to the GM. He always makes the coach and the GM report to him. That's not a way football is done today. That's not a way professional sports is done today. Why are the New York Knicks and the New York Rangers, granted they haven't won a championship, but they've been successful? Why? Because James Dolan hired Leon Rose and hired Chris Drury and has said, you know what? I hired my guys. I'm paying them to do the job. I'm going to stay out of the way and let them do their job. Why is David Stearns successful? Because Steve Cohen says, you know what? I made my mistake getting involved with Billy Epler. Look what happened. I got involved with Scherzer and Verlander, blah, 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 and it was a disaster. So I'm going to let David Stearns do his thing. He has my paid check. He's got he's got my everything on standby. Same thing with Brian Cashman. Why does Hal, only when he needs to, get involved? He lets Brian Cashman do the job. Woody Johnson, even John Mara lets Joe Shea. Although Joe, I'm having heart palpitations. I hope we get Saquon back. I mean, that's still John Mara what he's doing, right? But he lets Joe Shane at least do his job. Woody Johnson does not let these guys do their job. And by the way, and I'm going to say this right now, for any up-and-coming executive that's supposed to be the next big star in this league, do yourself a favor. Stay the hell away from that man and that family, because they are going to ruin your legacy and they're going to ruin your uprising in this league. Go look at John Itzik. Go look at Mike McCagnon. Go look at Joe Douglas. You haven't heard anything from Itzik. You heard nothing from McCagnon. You're probably not going to hear anything from Douglas for a while. I'm telling you this right now. Stay away from that man. That man will ruin whatever high legacy and high praise you have because he will not let you do your job.
It doesn't make sense though, Josh. You have Rodgers, right? You got Rodgers. You got Rodgers, Adams. He's got Lazard, who obviously now injured. You got Breece Hall. You have a pretty good offensive line. You got Garrett Wilson. What's up with the offense though?
I can tell you what it is. It's the one. I think Rodgers is 100% hurt. Number two, here's the problem. Before the year started, they were trying to get Arthur Smith to be the offensive consultant and run the offense before the year started, which that leads me to believe Nathaniel Hackett has lost everything, right? So they're trying to replace Hackett. They don't find a replacement for Hackett. So what happens? Hackett comes back. Hackett then is awful. But you know what they were really saying? They were saying, Aaron, you can handle this. Go fix the offense. Go do what you need to do. Fix the offense for us. Forget who the offensive coordinator is. But the problem is, it doesn't take one person to take an entire offensive system. And the thing is, they let Nathaniel Hackett come back even though they were trying to replace him. The other issue that nobody talks about is the fact that Keith Carter is still the offensive line coach for this team when all he did was get ridiculed after he left every job that he has been at. He is not a well-liked guy in this league. He's not a well-respected guy in this league. And yet he's still here. So they bring in Todd Downing then to do the play calling. It's done nothing either.
And
This team is a mess. And I think the team, honestly, this team, they're 3-8 right now. They have a bye. All right? They'll come back and play Seattle. Okay, we lost again. We're 3-9. Oh, we lost again. Okay, we're 3-10. They're checked out. They're checked out to the point of now they're just trying to get the season to end already and be done with this and move on. Rodgers will not be back next year. They're going to be this is going to be a whole thing again. Tyrod Taylor will probably be the quarterback next year. He's on a 2-year deal. And then I don't know. Then I think what and the truth is I would say whoa. Hi, Sadie. Woody is probably going to be going to England to be in charge, over there with Trump. But then you have his brother Christopher in charge. I mean, you ever see? Speedy will laugh at this. You ever see when they call the draft picks, and they always call the picks right, and Douglas is fired up, and Sal's fired up, and all these guys are fired up, and then they got Woody Johnson. Hey, how you doing, son? Huh? You ready to play for the New York Jets? Oh, he's like a wet blanket coming on the phone. I mean, it's really he should not even be an owner in this league.
So are you saying firing Douglas was the wrong move? Are you saying
No. I think it was the right move, but the problem is whoever Woody hires is not going to matter.
Was the wrong move? Are you saying bringing in Rodgers was the wrong move?
Yes, it didn't work.
All of these are the wrong moves.
Yeah, it didn't work. But the truth of the matter is the New York Jets are never going to be good until Woody Johnson sells the team. That's the reality of it. Because Woody can hire a GM, he can hire a coach, but he's never going to let them do their job. He will never let them do their job.
You kind of hit the nail on the head before. I think it stems a little bit more than that. You just talked about the offense and their issues. You have Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams. You have Breece Hall. You have a good offensive line. Again, but your offense is stagnant. Your offense isn't doing anything. If Rodgers is the one that has to call the plays and lead the team that way and stuff,
he doesn't even throw it down the field because he can't. He can't throw it down the field. He's hurt. He's hurt.
So guess what? How many times do you see a screen to Breece Hall?
It stems from everybody.
You know what I mean? Like there's a bigger issue there. And if
I think the issue it stems from one guy. It's one guy, and it's always been one guy. It's always been the one guy because he doesn't let anybody do their job.
We played this game before, obviously, with the Giants, right? So you're telling me if the Jets have a different quarterback that's in the league currently, say they have Jameis Winston with the offensive weaponry, are they better or worse? If they have Jameis Winston at quarterback, are they better or worse?
They're probably about the same.
All right, if you have Derek Carr as an example, better or worse? Right? You have Andy Dalton. If you have Andy Dalton as your quarterback,
I don't know. I think if they had Tyrod Taylor, they would be better.
You know what I mean? So I don't know, because you would think that
if they had Tyrod Taylor, they would be better.
I really don't think Rodgers,
if they had Sam Darnold, they'd be better.
Has anything to do with that, because if Rodgers is injured or whatever, they'd have to report it. No,
that's what they're not going to. Well, they've been reporting it. He's been limited in practice a lot of the times, but then he gets through it. And I know we got to get to the Giants, but meanwhile, what's his name? Rex Ryan is completely selling himself as the next head coach of the Jets badly. And I'm just like,
but again, with the same players,
what are we doing? Why are we going backwards? Why?
With the same players and the same personnel, what's changing? Is Rodgers throwing better? Is Breece Hall breaking more tackles? Is the line playing?
He's only broken 3 tackles for the entire season.
Again,
it's a coaching situation. But again, I think it stems from Joe Douglas, who, yes, again, was fired and did a bad job. But let's call it like it is. Woody Johnson has inserted himself in situations that no owner should insert themselves in. Period.
Well, we know a couple of owners who do that.
He should not be telling the coaches to bench a safety. You have no business doing that. You don't know anything about football. You know nothing about football. You've never won anything. The one regime that worked was Tannenbaum and Rex. And Woody left them alone. He just doesn't let the coach report to the GM and let the GM report to the owner. That's how it should be done. It should not be the coach and the GM to the owner. Period. Woody Johnson is the problem. He will always be the problem. And until he sells this team will always be a problem. And they're going to always be a problem for themselves.
And look at the domino effect, though. It started with the head coach. Losses still happened. Then it happened to the GM.
Yeah, because they fired. But again, Woody went above the GM's head for that. That's not an owner's choice. That should be a discussion. He talked to Douglas and then said, "Forget it. I'm just doing it myself."
Maybe there's
not a way you run. I understand Sal deserved to be fired, but you should have fired him the year before then if you felt that serious about it. That's what you should have done.
Well, listen, you have an offensive coordinator there who's still around that you mentioned. Could have been a culprit of everything, no?
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree. I think it's a lot of the problem. And again, Douglas, Sal didn't even want Hackett. He didn't want Hackett. He wanted to keep Shanahan, LaFleur. So, I don't know. Woody Johnson's a problem. Go away. Seriously, sell the team.
So you're telling me New York just has a quarterback problem, minus the Bills?
Well, yeah. I mean, because now we'll get to the Giants. I can't wait for that Cooper Rush versus Tommy DeVito matchup on Thanksgiving.
Woo!
It's going to be good.
That'll be a good time.
What's the halftime show for that game? Anybody know?
The nap time.
The food time. That's right. It's going to be a good one. I hope there's hors d'oeuvres. Yeah, I tell you.
The desserts are,
Those games for Thanksgiving this year are awful. Bears, Lions, bad. Cowboys, Giants, and then Packers, Dolphins. That's the games.
Oh.
And I can't wait for Netflix to have their streaming issues for the NFL on Christmas this year, like they did for the Paul and Tyson fight, because I was watching it. I actually got to round 3, and then the streaming just went kabot.
I got to ask, was anyone expecting Tyson after that?
No, it was fixed. The whole thing was fixed. It was already.
No, I mean his outfit.
His outfit. I saw the guy's bare ass on the front on Netflix.
Is anyone expecting that?
No, he looked like he was wearing something like Rikishi wore from the Attitude Era for WWE. It was literally looked like with this. I don't know what that was. He should have came out like that. That would have gotten more ratings. But it did well. It sold well. People watched it, like myself, the idiot that I am. I didn't finish watching the fight because the stream went out. And I wasn't going to be that idiot that kept trying to reboot my Wi-Fi because I knew it wasn't the Wi-Fi.
I watched too. I think I woke back up after round 4.
I mean, once Tyson got whacked in round 2, it was done. So.
But this quarterback situation in New York, it seems so fun. It's
bad.
Sure.
It's not ideal. I mean, look.
You've got the
Giants
meme again.
What'd you say?
It's the Spider-Man meme again.
I know, right? It's like
back to it.
But you know what, though? Daniel Jones had a heartfelt conversation today. Excuse me.
Yeah, listen,
About,
good for him taking some ownership and blame to it. You like to see that. Good PR in that aspect. Also, too, but let's talk about it's going to be quarterback 3 becoming QB1 and QB2 staying QB2. And what I mean,
Drew Lock thing, I got to be honest with you.
That one, I don't know about that.
I actually could understand Drew Lock's beef.
Tanking? Is that?
No, but I could understand Drew Lock's beef though, because the reality is he was told he's quarterback 2, and he was like, do you honestly think Tommy DeVito is good? Like when I hear Brian Dable say we want to see what he's got, really?
Let me ask you this:
you think Tommy DeVito is your future quarterback?
Does it make sense for the Giants to win any games the rest of the year?
No, but why are we lying like the fans are stupid? We know what he is.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say we want to see what he's got. Because let me tell you something. What if he does play pretty well down the stretch? What are you going to do then? Are you going to start him next year? I want them to have the balls to do that. Do it.
Listen, I want to see what Drew Lock has. A year or two.
The only thing Drew Lock's known for is bobbing his head after scoring a touchdown on the bench. It's going like it is. Yeah, exactly.
But think about it.
Don't forget about Jets legend Tim Boyle.
Oh, stop it. Wait, where's he playing?
With the Giants.
He's on the Giants
They just
now?
signed him.
Where's Mike White?
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's on Buffalo.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But that's what I'm getting at. I mean, a nice bridge quarterback before, I don't know, maybe a Manning enters the draft or something.
First off, there's no quarterbacks in this year's draft that are coming out. First off,
that's my point. That is my point, Josh.
Everybody's just on the practice squad.
I'm calling it right now. Shador and Dion are coming as a package deal to the Dallas Cowboys. It is so happening. Bank on it. It is so happening, and I cannot wait. Because I think the number 2 player in the country today, the 5-star kid, the quarterback, Speedy, announced that he's going to Colorado today to play with Prime. Little does he know that Prime's probably getting the Dallas Cowboys job. And Shador, and they're going to trade Dak. They'll trade Dak, and Shador will be the new quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
Wait, Dak to the Jets.
No, everyone wants it. I said no, nay on that one because he'll screw. First off, no disrespect to Dak, I just don't think he's a guy that's gonna take you over the hump. But the other thing that worries about me too with Dak is he's played in a dome stadium like his whole career, and that's fine. I don't really know what he is in cold weather. Do you know what I mean? Like, is he good in cold weather, Speedy? Has he been pretty good?
Up and down, I think. But...
Yeah, I don't know how good he would. Plus, this is not the place for him. This is not the place for him.
I was gonna say a lot of his cold weather is probably in the NFC East. Though,
listen, if you're stop with the quarterbacks, if you're the Jets, just do the full rebuild. Just stop with the half-assery, with the half rebuild. And stop with the retooling.
Build around Brees. Build around Wilson.
Well, they only got one more year at them on their rookie contract, so they're gonna have to start to move sooner than later. It's a lot of dead cap that's going to be coming on the books. I can tell you that much. Boy, oh boy. But yeah, right now, New York is a disgrace right now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who do you root for at this point, you know?
Nobody. I'm just an independent football observer, as I've said.
You root for your fantasy team. I get it.
Hey, man, let me tell you, 9-2 now. Speedy, if the playoffs were happening today, Erik would not make the playoffs. We have a caller?
Yes, we do. We have Jeff.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Josh. Are you Erik?
What's going on?
Guys, now is not the time for a full rebuild. I don't know.
Pieces, Jeff. I agree. The Jets have some core pieces.
Honestly insane.
Oh, God. Jeff, I can't. I'm almost to the point of my biggest fear is Matt Nagy will be the head coach of this team next year.
Right. I mean, I get it. That's not going to happen. But like,
They hired Adam. They hired Adam Gase. Nothing's off the table.
Right. Right. But you have to bring Rodgers back for one more year, because just look at the other organizations and what happens when you don't have a quarterback. Right. It's terrible. It's genuinely terrible. And you should at least bring Rodgers back. So whatever quarterback that you draft this year in the first round, second round, third round, wherever you take a quarterback, or Jordan Travis, who you took last year, if they feel he's developing, give him some time. Like, it just is what it is, right? Like, if you let Aaron Rodgers go and you're going to move to a quarterback that isn't going to be very good, you could end up losing Garrett Wilson to another team. He may not want to resign. Other guys may not want to come here, right? Like, that's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah, I know. It's just a bit. They're in a bad spot. Actually, it's funny. My dad said the same thing as you did, Jeff. He said that the Jets should keep Rodgers next year and whoever they draft, or let Travis develop. I mean, they still have Tyrod Taylor on the contract for next year. But, I mean, the Jets are just in a really, 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 really bad spot right now, because
everyone made fun of the Falcons for doing it, but it makes sense to draft Michael Penix and have him learn for a little bit behind Kirk Cousins.
I actually like the
when
pick
Kirk
when they
Cousins is gone, they can work him in, right?
Yeah. I'm going to give you an organization who I think has done it the best, and you can look at their previous quarterbacks to see, and they've done the same thing. And you know what? Rodgers is from that same tree, but look how the Packers do it. Right? You draft the quarterback, you let him sit for a year or two, watch, develop a little bit, and then you know when it's time to move on.
The problem with putting them in the conversation, and you make a strong point, Erik, but the problem with putting them in the conversation is they drafted a guy and sat him for 3 years. Each time, by the way, they drafted Rodgers, let him sit for 3 years. They drafted Love and let him sit for 3 years. That's a little different than, oh, shit, we got this old washed guy, so now we need a fire drill to get a quarterback in here.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the development itself. If they could have drafted a quarterback, with Rodgers still under center for last year, this year, and
they took Travis. They took the FSU kid.
So maybe that's the one. But let him develop a little bit.
I agree. I think the Jets, the problem is for years and years and years, every time the Jets draft a quarterback, whether it's Geno, whether it's Darnold, whether it's Sanchez or Zach Wilson, they don't let the kids sit. They make them start right away because the owner constantly presses them to start because he wants to sell season tickets and get the fans excited for money.
And Josh,
that's what he does. He doesn't let these guys and kids develop the way that they should develop.
Think about this. Those higher draft picks for those quarterbacks, that means the team the year before was what? Not that good. So you're throwing these rookie quarterbacks into a situation that is a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, it's the same thing with I'm not saying Bryce Young was going to be any special, but the fact that they put Bryce Young in that awful situation where, okay, to get him, you had to trade away your number one receiver, and you sign Adam Thielen, who's 34 years old, and that's his only target that he could throw to in Carolina. You're putting Bryce Young in a situation that's a disaster. This is the problem when a lot of these teams now. C.J. Stroud was able to make a situation, really good for himself because he was able to work within the system, and guys like Tank Dell developed and Nico Collins developed. But that's coaching. That's having the right coach.
Yeah, but that's also having talent, right? Like, I think the situation is completely different. Okay, the Panthers situation is they're dog shit. They have nothing. So yeah, they're throwing them to the wolves. That's not our Jets. Our Jets have.
Stop at the our Jets, Jeff.
We got Garrett Wilson. We got Conklin. We got some good pieces there.
Jeff, that was my point to Josh earlier.
By the way, Jeff, can I say one thing? Drake May for you looks pretty good right now.
Yeah, but he's not getting slammed to the ground 17 times a game.
I know he looks good though.
But it's not for me. That's the racist. I'm a Jets fan.
No, stop.
That's what I can see.
Let me tell you, it's funny because we all knew, right? Jay and Daniels and Drake May were going to be good, right? We all knew this.
Well, maybe.
Wow. I mean, it's almost like because they go to organizations that actually. Well, I should. I mean, Washington still. They just got. I mean, we don't know what Josh Harris yet.
Look, I was going to say, look at the Commanders.
There were a lot of questions about both of those guys.
I know that were 100%.
Drake May, it was He played at North Carolina. The school isn't very good. They don't play tough competition. He's kind of a developmental guy, which was all true. He's played fairly well. Jada Daniels had a lot of questions because they said, okay, he played one good year at LSU, but when he was at ASU, he was pretty terrible. And so is he a product of just having Brian Thomas and who was the other receiver? Neighbors, right? So was he a product of that? Pretty unanimously, everyone thought Caleb Williams was the guy that had the most talent.
No, I was not a fan of Williams even when the draft happened. I thought he was too soft, especially after he lost that game. Who did he lose to?
Soft.
It was Notre Dame. He cried to his mommy in the crowd after.
My God!
I said that's it.
Every interception.
I said the moment he cried to his mom after that loss, I said I would not even touch this guy. This guy's going to cry.
He did it every loss.
I know.
Into the stands and hugging his mom.
I know. Well, listen, Jeff, we're going to let you go, but hopefully our New York Jets get better, right, Jeff?
Hey, I'll tell you what, I was stunned when we cut our best weapon. Dude, what a fall off. What a fall off for Greg Zuerlein, who, dude, say what you want, but Greg Zuerlein was the best kicker in football last year.
He was.
This year, what happened?
I don't know.
What?
Maybe
just
the yips.
in shambles.
Maybe the yips.
The entire team.
Yeah.
Offensively, defensively.
We'll talk to you next week or 2 weeks. All right, man? Have a good Thanksgiving,
all right,
buddy.
Man.
Happy
you as well, Eric. Take care of yourself. Let's go, Jets.
Oh, God. I can't. New England Patriots fan, Jeff, ladies and gentlemen.
Spoken like a true Jets fan.
We do have other things we want to get to.
You mean there's other debacles with teams going on right now? It's not just the Jets.
I'm glad you brought that up because I do want to search this up quickly. Like I said, we may go over a little bit tonight. Do we want to do the 3 games for the NFL picks quickly? You want to do the 3 games?
Let's do it.
Let's do it quick. Speedy, you pick the games.
Oh, all right. Hold on. I gotta get the
Speedy. No,
Hey, you got a barn burner tonight.
Oh yeah, the great matchup with the Steelers
God.
and the Browns. Yes, illustrious matchup tonight. All right, let's see what we got for this week. All right, yeah, we'll start with this one. The Eagles at the Rams. That's Sunday Night Football.
Eagles at the Rams. That's a Sunday Night Football game. Boy, the Eagles are clicking now, aren't they? Saquon Barkley, everybody. They now have his jump move in Madden.
How crazy is that?
Man, he's MVP candidate right now.
That sounds like a Madden glitch waiting to happen.
Ah.
By the way, over under is 49.
Only the Giants had a guy like that.
I'm just saying. When I look at where the Eagles are now, I mean, the Rams, did they lose? They lost to the Dolphins. What was it, last week?
2 weeks ago. They just beat the not the Cardinals, the Seahawks.
I'm trying to think. I can't find this article. Eric, you go first.
Good, because you know what?
I'm trying to find this article about Embiid.
Listen, the Rams, you got to give them some credit right now. Nakua's back. Cup is back.
That's right. Puka's back, baby.
Tyron is back.
I love Puka Nacua. I love him.
This is the sneakiness of the Rams going out and doing their thing and starting to build some streaks together. You saw it early in the year to do it when they were healthier. I don't think it starts this week, though. The defense for Philly is playing outstanding of late. Offensively, they're clicking. Barkley should have like 10 more touchdowns if it wasn't for Jalen Hurts just rushing it in every time they get within the 5. Give me the Eagles. I think it's a close matchup, game-winning field goal.
I like the Eagles in this one, too. I think they're clicking right now, and they're playing really, really, really good football. I don't know. Listen, I think right now the best team in the NFC, and I said this, and I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. Speedy remembers. I did it at the Miller's House show. I said, who, Speedy?
The Detroit Lions.
I said the Detroit Lions are the best team in football. I'm sticking to that. I believe they are the best coached team in football. They are the most well-rounded team in football. There's everything you love about them. Amon St. Brown, let's go. So to me,
pretty good.
Yeah, I think so. Him and Puka Nacua together. And boy, imagine if they were on a team together. Wow, that would be something, wouldn't it? Eric's like, but Deebo Samuel's okay. To me, I'm going with what Speedy knows about that trade, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. I like where they're at right now. They're clicking. Still not a big fan of Jalen Hurts. I don't trust them completely. Their defense, I don't think is out of the woods just yet. And I definitely don't trust Nick Sirianni with anything. But give me the Philadelphia Eagles in this one. I think the Rams, that tough loss to Miami could hurt them a little bit making the postseason. Give me the Eagles.
All right. We'll go to we have 2 family bowls this week. So we'll go to the Harbaugh Bowl on Monday Night Football.
Right.
Ravens at the Chargers. The over-under 51.5.
I like this game. I actually think the Chargers are going to take this one. I do.
Tell me why.
The defense. Defense is playing great right now. How good has that Chargers defense been so
It's
far?
probably the biggest turnaround we've ever seen.
I mean, and who's the head coach?
I
How
don't
does
know.
that happen?
Did you see the game last week? Almost giving up that lead.
Well, listen, they won the game, though. They won. How many tough games has Baltimore had this year, huh? The Steelers game. Many games they should have won. I'm still worried. Zay Flowers dropping the wide open pass, which he never does. I'm still worried about that Ravens defense. Give me the Chargers and give me Jim in retaliation from the Super Bowl loss from a couple years ago.
See, that's tough. But you know what?
Not really, but okay. You could make it tough on yourself if you want.
We've seen the Harbaugh Bowl many times, and what teams are on top, especially in the Super Bowl when it counted. But I'm just saying, I think it's the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, he's not going to lose 2 games in a row like this, right? Tough game against Pittsburgh. Came down to a final play, a botched play, as you will. I think they have enough defensive talent to kind of hold the Chargers, from doing a lot more. I don't think Will Dissly is going to score 3 touchdowns in this game, and I think that's going to be a big difference maker. Give me the Ravens. Too much offensive weaponry. Derrick Henry is going to have a nice game. I'm going to see it through to the end. The Ravens.
All right. I mentioned there were 2 family bowls. The other one is the bowl of Josh's parents' teams.
Hey there!
The 49ers at the Packers. 47.5.
Thank goodness it's before Thanksgiving.
Yeah, so for me, San Francisco had a tough loss at home last week to the Seahawks. That came out of left field. Did not see that happening. Green Bay hasn't played great either. They should have. But again, it doesn't matter how. They beat the Chicago Bears again because as the saying goes, sorry, Carl, as they say, the Bears still suck. The Bears still suck. So the Chicago Bears still suck. The Green Bay Packers beat them again. I believe that's the 15th time in a row they've beaten them.
The last one was in 2000. The last one was in 2018.
That's crazy.
So that would be.
That's so bad.
19.
Only 6 years.
9 in a row. 11 in a row.
11 in a row. That's so bad. Give me.
Oh, are you saying
as long if Kittle plays, I would give the 49ers a chance, but I'm going to take the Packers in this one. Who's the home team, actually? Who's the home
Packers
team?
are home.
Give me the Packers.
Here's why you're wrong, Josh. Who didn't play last week?
George Kittle.
They're a difference maker. Yeah, it's CMC.
I know he's on my fantasy team. Just to get rid of the big name starter that we talked about on the show so far.
Their difference maker is Kittle in that passing game. Opens.
Erik says my team is unfair.
I never said such words.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, really?
You and Brian both. It's flawed. Josh is a very flawed, skewed team.
In the words of Billy Madison, I got a feeling you're gonna go down, O'Douls. Real soon. I probably butchered that, but something like that. Anyway, listen, you didn't have Kittle in that game last week, which means what? More over the top.
The Seahawks.
More over the top coverage over Debo. Look who had the great game. It was Juwan Jennings, right? Because what? Debo is covered mostly. Same thing with CMC. You had Kittle back this week now. I don't think the Packers defense can do enough, right? Too much offensive weaponry. You get CMC with his legs back under him this week. Give me the Niners.
All right, and that's our picks for the week.
Now the real question: how much will the bye week beat the Jets?
Oh snap! What's that? 12.5 spread?
Okay.
Listen, the bye week already beat Joe Douglas.
It beat the Giants. The Giants heading into it had the number 1 draft pick. The bye week they dropped down to what? Roughly 8th, somewhere around there.
Oh
yeah. Really quickly, we'll get to a quick baseball thing because there's not really much happening in free agency. And then we'll get to our story with the 76ers. Yankee. What happened?
Said baseball hot stove ain't gonna happen until Soto signed.
Yeah.
No offense.
Yankee personnel believe that he is going to go to the highest bidder, and a lot of the Yankee personnel believe that he is having intentions of going to the New York Mets. And I am so sick of hearing about this already. I'm almost at the point of just putting a jar in the studio. Every time somebody says Juan Soto's name, so I put $5 in.
Gosh, riddle me this, though. And Speedy, same thing. This was the first time, I think, in how many years when Hal Steinbrenner talked that it was like, listen, we can go after anyone. We're in a lot better financial situation this year than any other, than the start of last year. When have you heard Hal talk like that?
Well, but they also did dive in. So they dove in. I believe it was John Heyman. He did dive into, yes, the Yankees are in a better financial situation, but he also did say, Hal said, it's just not feasible to be at a certain tier. Salary wise,
I'm saying,
and they did say they're putting. Hold on, they're putting the 4 players of the money that they have in Rodon, Judge, Stanton, and Cole, and combine it together, and it's a lot of money that they have said. There are reports, personnel within the Yankees have said they are concerned that if they do sign Soto to this big contract, they will not be able to come up with the promise that they gave him, which was trying to build around this team. So I ask you the question, do you just sign Christian Walker, Anthony Santander, and Alex Bregman if you're the Yankees? I think that's fantastic if you do. I almost would rather do that if I was the Mets.
You know what?
I'd rather do that.
Add a pitcher into there too, and I say deal.
Yeah, I agree. Because the reality of it is this. Hal can say whatever, but Hal also did say, yes, he did say the financial, but they asked him a question. Are you concerned about Steve Cohen? And Hal was very blunt about it. Yeah, I'm very concerned. We should all be concerned. So, I mean, it's a real thing that it's, oh crap, all these years.
I want to ask John, is it nice to be in that driver's seat finally? Right? Like,
I mean, we signed Max Scherzer 2 years ago and Justin Verlander last year. What driver's seat? We've done the drive-bys.
No, think about it. Think about it. In our lifetime, right? It was always the Yankees as the evil empire buying their championships and the Mets not. But now the Mets are in the driver's seat with that. How does it feel, Josh? Is it nice?
I mean, the Mets aren't really buying the championship. They're getting a singular player, but I mean, they're still developing.
Now they can. No problem.
Yeah, I mean, if they feel that, listen, I can tell you this. Speedy and I have both said we think he's going to the Mets. Errol thinks he's going to the Mets. You have partially said you think he's going to the Mets, but it's going to be a contract that I'm not going to like. It's going to be a 12 or 13-year deal, probably worth $680.
I think higher years than that.
It's going to be a contract that's going to be a lot of money. But the thing is, there's only 2 teams in baseball that can afford this contract that they could still build around the team because of the amount of money that's coming off the books. That's the Mets, and that's the Blue Jays. The Dodgers can't do it. The Phillies can't do it. The Yankees can't do it because the problem is that their payroll. Because you look right now, the Dodgers are 1. The Phillies are 1. The Yankees are 2, and the Dodgers are 3 in payroll in baseball. The Mets are 11th.
Josh, hypothetical. Soto goes to the Yankees for, say, $50 million less than what he would go to the Mets.
Let me tell you.
What's your reaction to that? If hypothetical,
you want to know what my reaction is? You don't hire Scott Boras to take less money. Go ask Pete Alonso why he hired Scott Boras. Speedy, am I wrong? Yeah. You don't hire Scott Boras to take a discount. That is not what you do.
Hypothetical, of course.
It's not a realistic hypothetical. And also, if he takes $50 million, God bless. But here's the reality. Scott Boras has been burned by so many of his clients in the last 2 years. He needs the most amount of money out of this golden goose in Soto that he has because of all the screw-ups that he's done the last couple of years with his clients. One of them on the market in Blake Snell. So you don't hire Scott Boras to take a discount. Yankee personnel has come out and now has said he is going to the highest bidder. Now, what is that highest bid? If it's a $5 or $10 million difference, I think he goes back to the Yankees. If it's a $50 or a $60 million difference, that's a whole different conversation we're having.
20. What if the Blue Jays are within 20 more than the Yankees?
I actually think, you want to know where my rankings are right now for Soto?
Mets,
honestly, Mets, Blue Jays, Yankees. 1, 2, 3. That's where it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where it is right now. I think this whole Dodger chat is not realistic. This Philly, I don't even know how the Phillies are going to do this. How are the Phillies going to do this? Are you going to trade the team? Who's going to want Castellanos' contract? Who's going to want Schwarber's contract? Nobody wants those. Realmuto's contract. And this is the thing that annoys me about Dave Dombrowski. Everybody says, "Oh, Dave Dombrowski is such a great executive. He does this and that and that." He buys players. Dombrowski.
Trey Turner.
I would take Trey Turner. Would you take Trey Turner, Speedy?
Sure. I don't love the length of his contract, but the value is.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because his big thing is his speed, and that goes at the
yeah, that's the only thing I'm worried about with the length.
But this is the problem with all these contracts that the Phillies did. They gave these guys 7, 8, 9 years on-year deals. That it just didn't make any remote sense. I think this is just hearsay. We know who the 3 real finalists are. It's the Mets, it's the Blue Jays, it's the Yankees. And if he goes to the Dodgers, that is horrific.
Well, listen, Ohtani just won MVP.
No, but if he goes to the Dodgers, in all seriousness, this is horrific for the game of baseball. It's not good for the game of baseball. Because every single year the Dodgers are going to sign the best guy. Okay, this is not MLB The Show with the salary off and everything. It's just, in all seriousness, it wouldn't be good for the sport. Because now the Dodgers are just collecting the number one guy every single season. But the truth of the matter is, Ohtani's contract was unique. Ohtani doesn't get that contract if Boris is his agent. Like, Ohtani wants that money straight up front, period, end of discussion. Boris is not a, let's defer the money. Boris will do opt-outs.
Mm-hmm.
He'll do opt-outs after 6 or 7 years, which I'm totally fine with. If you're the Mets, you do like a 15-year deal with an opt-out year 6, fine. The truth of the matter is Soto's going to be 32 at that point. I don't think he's going to want to opt out.
And that's the biggest difference that I think people forget sometimes, though, is his age, and that's why he's going to command the amount of money.
If he was 30, 29, 30 years old, he would not be getting the money.
He was the same age as Judge's. Right. Because think about it. Judge, better outfielder, better hitter.
Judge is a better player than him, and that's the other thing. If you're a Yankee fan and you're Hal Steinbrenner, how can you justify sitting there and say to yourself, I'm going to give this guy more money than my homegrown superstar captain, who is twice the player that he is? And you sit there and you say, I'm okay with that.
Because
how can you even sit there and be okay with it? You can't be.
Well, maybe
if you're Hal Steinbrenner, you can't be okay with that. And if you're Aaron Judge, I'd be furious with that. I'd be like, he's not here to play with us. He's here for the money, and that's it.
That's a lot of reports, though. They had a great rapport against.
He has a great rapport with everybody. He had a great rapport with the Mets, with the Red Sox, with the Blue Jays, with the Dodgers. He had a great meeting. The only time somebody ever had a bad meeting was when the Knicks did their presentation to LeBron.
Yeah, you're right.
That's the only time they ever had a bad meeting. They all have good meetings.
Well, speaking of meetings and good or bad, don't you think a meeting in Philadelphia, with the basketball team went pretty well? Or
yeah, so that was a nice little segue there, Eric. I like that. So Tyrese Maxey, obviously we talked about it a couple of days ago, voices displeasure about Embiid being targeted at team functions and meetings. Joel Embiid came out after the Sixers lost to the Memphis Grizzlies, who, by the way, did not have Ja Morant and Zach Edey play yesterday. Quote, "Whoever leaked that is a real piece of bleep," Embiid said. We talked about a lot of things. I don't want to get into detail, but that whole thing, that part of it, it took probably 40 seconds. But it's Joel Embiid, so things will always get blown out of proportion. It's whatever, though. I'll take it. I'm the reason for everything. So I guess I'll take the blame for everything. End quote. So Joel Embiid is playing victim.
Who gets out of their situation first, Embiid or Giannis?
Giannis, because Giannis he'll be more of he's first off a better personality. Number one. Number two, he's a better player. Number three, Embiid is a head case. And when they give him the max 3-year contract, everybody said and then I remember when they signed Paul George, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, they're going to compete with the Celtics. They're going to be better than the Knicks. They're going to compete with the Cavs and the Bucks." Their season's over already. They're 2-14 now.
2-11.
2-11.
They played yesterday, then they're 2-12.
They're 2-12.
They have the same record as the Wizards.
And now Paul George is going to be week to week now.
Yeah. Well, I think
this is
he's missing at least the next 2 games.
Missing the next 2 games. They said he's week to week possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Knicks ended the process last year in the playoffs. Seriously. That was the Sixers' best chance with the Knicks half injured last year. And the Sixers still lost to them in 6 games.
Yeah.
To me, this is Nick Nurse is going to get fired. This is a team they just signed. Here's the thing. This is their core now. Maxey, Embiid, and George.
And you got
all signed long term.
How many minutes out of it last night to see them all play together, and how quickly that just.
But did we not think this was going to happen with George? When they signed Paul George.
But is George the issue?
I think he's part of it because I think first off, I think he's a nice player, George, but he wasn't worth right. He got a max deal, right? Speedy, it was a max deal he got.
Oh yeah.
I don't think he was worth it, and he's always injury prone. He's been injury prone.
Mm-hmm.
His whole career. When he was on Indiana, when he was on the Clippers, you can make the case one of his best seasons was when he was with OKC for that 1 year. He's always been an injury-plagued player. And you pair him with another injury-plagued player in Embiid, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get, and they have no depth at all. Their depth stinks. I know you like the kid from Duke, whatever his name is, Mr. Dancy Pants.
Okay.
The stupid videos. Yeah, because that guy's really bringing people together. I feel bad for Tyrese Maxey. Because Maxey's a really freaking good player. He's one of the better point guards in the league, and he's stuck with these 2 guys who are, one's a has-been in George, and the other one, to me, is a crybaby, acts like a little boy at times because he likes to play the victim card, but he's the problem at times. Obviously, I think the reporter went out of line with his family thing a week or 2 ago. That was way out of line. But this is why was Joel Embiid playing games for Team USA this year in the summer? He should have been at home resting. And instead, he was playing games for Team USA.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was a 76ers and I just gave you that max deal, and you're always injury prone, and you're going to play games in the Olympics, I'd be furious if I'm the Sixers.
To a point, but I mean, listen, you still got to play, getting back into shape, whatever, stay in shape. You missed how many games last year? You're already going into the season. You're not going to play, back-to-backs or whatnot already.
Not to mention, he's also not the most well-liked guy either.
Right. Well, as they say, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is not the most well-liked guy. That's just, he's not. I mean, he injured Mitchell Robinson last year, so, I mean, it's.
And
I don't know.
Did you see there was a nice basketball battle the other day I want to bring up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
A nice win streak had ended between the Cavaliers. Great start to the season.
Oh, yes.
Ended, right? The Celtics shot lights out. And that's how you're going to win the East this year is who's going to have the best perimeter defense against the threes, right? You see the Knicks, right? Lost to the Celtics. What did the Celtics do? They shot lights out 3 against them.
Yeah.
against the Cavs shot lights out. The loss to Indiana last time. You had Miles Turner just burying threes like nothing, right? And same thing. The Celtics shifted it to the Cavs. It's obviously you see how the game is trending that way.
Really quick, congratulations to Aaron Judge, unanimously voted AL MVP over Bobby Witt Jr. and Juan Soto, and unanimously Shohei Ohtani.
Were there any doubts with this year's MVP choices?
Unanimously, Shohei Ohtani is the MVP winner in the National League, with Francisco Lindor finishing second and Ketel Marte finishing third. So, there you go. Congratulations. We know who the real MVP is in the National League, and he's not a DH. We'll leave it at
50-50 season.
Okay. Not a DH. He doesn't play the field. Congratulations. Having said that,
they got it right.
No, they got it right, but we know who plays the field and who doesn't. The fact that he at the least wasn't even a Gold Glove nominee was a joke in itself, but whatever. And then Carlos Mendoza finished third in Manager of the Year voting.
That didn't.
I mean, Pat Murphy can win it. That's totally fine, but really over Mike Schilt? I mean, Mike Schilt had what? Machado, Bogarts, Tatis, Merrill, Profar. Come on, stop. It is time for the.
Come on, Josh.
You
Come
say.
on, Josh.
You're better than that.
Take it away.
All right, man. You're better than that. It starts. Basically, it starts. I have to go with how. I'm trying to think for a second how I want to word this in the proper way. Oh, yes. It is in regards to college football. And it's in regards to the constant back and forth in the transfer portals that are still happening even when they give commits to teams. It happened yesterday with Michigan over, a kid who flipped Michigan going to Wisconsin now. Great. I'm happy about that, but still. But then you have the kid from Colorado who picked to go to Colorado today, the number 2 player in the country. And when Shedeur Saunders goes to the draft and gets drafted by the Cowboys and Deion Sanders goes to the Cowboys as the head coach, he's going to flip. So that's why I always find it to temper your expectations. That's number 1. Number 2, Phil Longo. You bum. You were supposed to bring the air raid offense to the Big Ten. You stink. Thank God you are no longer here. You are awful. Seem like a nice guy, but you are just a terrible offensive coordinator. All that to college football in general and as a whole, you are better than that.
Nice.
Thank you.
Now listen, mine, I could come back in our next show and have so much egg on my face for this one, Josh.
No.
I could have a lot of egg on my face for this one. We won't know until it happens. And we kind of touched up on it on the show earlier. You have a wonderful 3-game slate on Thanksgiving Day. Ratings and viewership should be through the roof this day. And we have such great matchups this year. Right? Like we knew it. Yeah. Bears, Detroit. That's gonna pull it in. Giants, Cowboys. Oh yeah, that's really gonna pull it in. Obviously, I know factors, everything happens into it too, but come on. There's gotta be something better. I'm gonna watch Charlie Brown, I think, instead.
That's right. Or no. Watch the is that when they do the log?
That's Christmas, I think. The
Is that
Yule
for
log?
Christmas?
The
Yeah,
Yule
the Yule log.
Christmas.
Christmas or is that Thanksgiving?
I don't know, but I'm gonna YouTube it maybe instead.
I would do that. It sounds like a nice.
Come on. You're better than that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Speedy, any last words?
I'm surprised Erik didn't pick Josh as you're better than that for having the Whoppers.
Well, you know what?
Close second. And then Drew Lock against Tommy DeVito starting quarterback. That was third. It was an internal debate.
I'm just saying.
Internal debate.
If you want to check out all the great shows here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, check out, of course, Jabba and The Mouth.
Yep.
Joining you every single Monday and Wednesday at 7:30. Also check out the Weekend Crunch on Saturdays at 7 p.m. or after the New Ghana's play. I will be filling in for Errol this weekend. Errol will be out. I will be filling in for him with Speedy. We will be doing that together. Also check out the Wise Guys, the betting show, Snowman in the Morning. No show next week, ladies and gentlemen. It will be the holidays. It will be Thanksgiving. This is the first show that I've missed, I believe, since January.
Happy Thanksgiving, all.
Yeah, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Josh, do I dare say I'm thankful to have you as a co-host?
Oh, my God.
Do I dare say that?
It's up to you. You already kind of said it, but if you want to take it back like you want to flip commitments, you could do that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to go back and forth like, you disliking Rodgers on the Jets and then liking Rodgers on the Jets and then disliking it. So we'll play neutral. It's fine. You're right.
Okay. Listen, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving until you have to watch Tommy DeVito play quarterback. And I really hope DeVito wins some games so the Giants actually think about making him the quarterback next year.
Oh, it's going to happen.
I hope this happens. Look at Speedy's face. He's like, oh, God.
It's going to happen.
You'll never hear the end of the Cutlet nonsense.
Yeah, Erik and Fish will have way too much fun.
Yeah, but they just have their own show. The old Cutlet Kabuto is what we call it, and everything like that. Seriously, I hope everybody has a wonderful holiday, Speedy. Hopefully, you have a nice, happy, healthy Thanksgiving. Erik, you do the same thing. Have a happy, healthy Thanksgiving. This will be my little one's first Thanksgiving this year. It'll be Carter's first Thanksgiving. Of course, Caleb, this will be his third. Nutcase, if he keeps it up, he's going to be stuffed inside the turkey. So we will have that. Please do not call child services. That was a joke, everybody. And everything like that. So check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. We have so much to be thankful here at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. We appreciate Errol Marks for giving us this platform. Of course, for doing all that he does here to keep this network alive. He really does a lot to the fans for listening out there and watching us and supporting us. To Speedy Petey, of course, being behind the board and doing all the editing and everything he does on the show. To all of us here at the network, to all the hosts and everything of that nature, we appreciate everything. We appreciate all of you. Do not forget to check out the Weekend Crunch on Saturday with myself and Speedy. Speedy's going to love it because we play the classic rock music on. He's got his playlist in his head already. Erik, any last things you want to say before we sign off, and we'll see you in 2 weeks?
Just kind of copycatting what you had said. Thankful for Errol, the opportunity on here on the network and the platform that he has. Thankful for a producer to make sure that everything runs smoothly. Thank you, Speedy. All right, I'll say it. Thankful for a co-host like you who can talk outside here as well, and have our families enjoy each other and hang out a lot. Thankful for that. Thankful for our family itself.
100%.
And
Family's important. Family and friends, loved ones. Enjoy that. Remember that. Okay, forget. Enjoy your food. Enjoy the football. Enjoy the Macy's parade. Enjoy the dog show that happens after the parade before the football.
The puppy bowl. That's right.
Puppy bowl. Oh no! It's the Westminster Club Dog Show.
Wait, no, you can't forget the puppy bowl either, Josh.
Isn't that on?
That's
on the Super Bowl. That's on the Super Bowl.
Last year's on YouTube.
I
told you I'm watching YouTube videos.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to end it there. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. We'll want so to be signed at that point. Who knows? Because we'll be close to the winter meetings. We'll talk then. Until then, happy Thanksgiving. Happy holidays to all of you out there. Enjoy it. Safe friends and safe travels to everybody. Enjoy your time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you in 2 weeks. This has been Game On live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.